Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I wanted to do a review of a new product that I just got and that I'm going to be installing on my Jeep. It is a 6-foot whip light. It's 2 of them that I'm going to put in the back of the Jeep. And this is from a company called Bevinsee, if that's how you pronounce it. And I've already opened it up. I've already taken a look at one of them. I tested it out, but they did come nicely packaged in here. They're all wrapped in bubble wrap. So A+ for the shipping and packaging. I felt like it was done nicely. So that's good. So we're going to first, before we install this onto the Jeep, we're going to test them out and we'll make sure everything works, and then we'll kind of go through the settings. These are the ones you can attach to the reverse light, brake lights, turn signals, and this also has a Bluetooth phone app, and it also comes with a remote. I'm going to go through and show you these actually working, and then I'll show you how I install it on the Jeep, kind of the best way to get into the brake lights, into the turn signals, because you're going to have to take the turn signals from the front of the Jeep and then route them to the back, and then we'll do the brake lights, and then we'll also tap into the reverse lights. But before we go into more details on this light, so let's first turn them on and I'll show you how it works, and then we'll go do some night testing, and then I'll go through and show you the install, and then at the end of the video I'll tell you my overall review on this product. So I've already got it plugged in. I'm using a battery charger to send a 12-volt signal, and then you can turn it on. In the Bluetooth app, you do have a little bit more customization, which is nice. I've already checked that app out. First, this is going to be the brake light. It does a little strobe effect, and then it'll stay solid. This one is your turn signal. And then once the turn signal is off, it waits about 3 seconds, and then it goes back to its effect. And then this is going to be the reverse lights. So you might be wondering what one will overpower the other, whether you're hitting your brake lights or your turn signals. So let's say you're hitting your brake lights, and then you activate the turn signal. That is going to overpower the brake light. Even if you do the turn signals first and then you hit the brakes, it'll always power the turn signal over the brake lights. And then let's say you're doing a turn signal and then you do the reverse lights, it will only have the reverse lights on over the brake lights. So if you have the brake light on, the turn signal, and the reversing lights, the reverse light is what is going to be on. So that might change how you want to wire it. And that is the other reason you can't use the wires from the rear brake lights, because the rear brake lights and the rear turn signals are going to be the same wires, but you have to grab the turn signals feed from the front turn signals. So let's go for a quick drive at night and we'll see how these lights look. My favorite thing about this kit is it comes in 3 individual sections. They come this short of pieces, so that is really nice. And then they just screw in together. And all you're left with on the bottom of the Jeep is this little plug right here. And here you can see just how easily this goes in. Find the mark, find your mark, pinch here. Just like that, your whip light is plugged in. We will have to drill a hole and mount this. And also keep in mind, when you are mounting it, the longer the whip light, there is a lot of movement on it. If you're only doing a 4-foot section, there might not be that much movement on it. You can see it's a lot less wiggling. But with a 6-foot section, you need to make sure where you're mounting it is not going to hit the body of the Jeep or the back glass or even the brake lights. So just be cautious of that depending on what size whip you guys go with. I wanted something that was long enough, that way when I go to, for instance, Trail Hero in a couple weeks, I will be able to run these instead of having to run a flag, because this is what I normally have on the Jeep. So I was trying to do a little bit of testing to see how this would mount and where I'd want to put it. And I think mounting it on the bumper is a good idea. Usually people's bumpers will stick out to here and you can just mount it straight up. Being that mine's a frame chop bumper, I got these little tiny wedges that can angle this light outward. That way, if I aim it straight forward and this thing whips around, it's going to be hitting the brake light or hitting the top of the Jeep. But if it's angled outwards, it won't hit everything. So I need to make an even mark on this bumper. One's going to go on this side, and the other will go on this side. And I'll drill it through, and I'll mount these. So let's go ahead and make an even hole, drill through, and we'll be able to mount it up. So we're going to go ahead and mark our area and just want to make sure it's even on both sides of the frame. So I go to the edge and then I will mark 6 inches. I'll do the same on this side. You see 6 inches marked right there. And the same right there. So I'll take one more measurement and just make sure it's accurate. So we're going to test out with one of these little wedges and see the angle that it puts it. I've got a feeling I'm going to need 2 of these little wedges. We'll start with one for now because that doesn't look bad. I've got one little wedge and that's the angle that it pushes it back. I might need to do one more just to get it a little bit more leaning back, but we'll see. I'll tighten this up and we'll see what happens. So let's move on to the other side. All right, just like that, got our whips hanging in the back. I only have it as the 4-foot sections just because it hits the garage ceiling. So now let's talk about wiring. You're gonna have to tap into the front turn signals. You're gonna be tapping into the white wire that is opposite of the black wire or closer to the red lock that is on this plug. And it's going to be the same on the passenger side. It's going to be the wire that is closest to the red lock. And then you're going to have to route the wires inside the Jeep. And then right here, I'm going to show you where to tap into the reverse lights. And the brake lights should be able to be tapped in right here also. So we're going to take this apart and we're going to look for the brake light signal, the reverse light signal, and then the turn signals will come here. And then we'll also use this switch pod right here to turn the power on. One main difference that my Jeep's going to have is I already have the front turn signals tapped into because I installed these mirrors and these have turn signal switchbacks in them. I've already tapped into the front turn signals. But my job's going to be a little bit easier than yours, but I'm going to tell you what wires you need to tap into. That way you can do this at home also. So I've got all of this opened up. I've got wiring from this switch going down here. It'll come down to here and then I'll have it ran all the way to the back. That'll be the power to turn on the whip lights. And then here I am tapping into the reverse lights. It's easier to get into the wires here. So it's going to be the reverse light right here. And this is a white with a gray tracer. So I'll tap into it here and then I'll run it under the carpet into the back. And then I have my turn signals from the front, ran from the front, and I'll run those all the way to the back. So I'll have power wire, reverse signal, left and right. And then the brake signal, I'm going to do something a little bit different. You could tap into this wire to get your brake signal. This is a white with a green tracer. That's not what I'm going to do, but this is what you can tap into. So we'll go ahead and run these wires. So I've got all my wires run. I'm going to lift up this plastic, route them under here, and then I'm going to let this box sit up under here where the jack is. And then under the jack, there's already a spot where the vent tube goes through the body, and I'm going to route the connections for each individual light under there, and then it'll follow along right to the inside of this bumper. But I wanted to share a quick little tip. It's kind of hard getting the wires in these looms. It's kind of annoying. Take a wrench, put your wires inside the wrench, and that will help you feed the wires in the loom. That is so much faster. So I got the wires routed, then it's going to push through using this grommet, that hole right there. So we'll feed the wires through. And then we can wire up this box. So we'll cut off the ends of all these wires and we're gonna attach them to the new ones. And use some heat shrink in this area because this area could get wet. Now that I've got all the wiring finished up, I can zip tie all the wires together and then I can run the wires underneath the bumper. And you can secure everything with zip ties and then you can go for a test drive. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at these lights. They are nice and bright. You can see just how much it lights up around the Jeep. Definitely going to be increasing safety. Cool thing about these lights is you can use a phone app. So if we get our phone app out, I can change that just like that. You can go through and change all different sorts of settings. This one's pretty neat. Then you can go through, you can choose the color that you want. So let's say you want the green, you can choose the brightness, or you can change the color to red, green. And this is what the reverse lights look like. This is what the turn signals look like. You can also, with the phone app, make it strobe. So that's pretty neat. And then I'll show you, you can use your turn signals or your brake lights or your reverse lights. Or you can play to some music. So yeah, this definitely makes off-roading at night much safer. So I would say my overall recommendations on this product is I actually would recommend this product. The fact that I can separate these into 3 sections means it's easier for me to store them. So that right there is a big bonus. This also comes with a remote control if you don't want to use your Bluetooth app, but I don't mind using the app. Let's change the speed of this design. You can go through and set the direction, how it does it. The color length. These are very cool. That's just neat. So many options with this. These ones are cool because it fills up the light as it's trickling down. Change the speed so it does it a little quicker. Ah, that's cool. You don't see these in the cheap Amazon ones. That's for sure. Well, alright, there's my review of these lights. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And then when you're done, it's this easy to remove. And all that you're left with is this little tiny connector. Make sure you put the dust cover on it, that way you don't mess with these terminals. And same thing on this side. That is all you're left with. That is nice. Easy to put on, easy to remove. So again, thanks for watching.